Brought to you by Raising the Vibe, a nonprofit organization supporting the growth of conscious communities.
Everyone, I'm Rebecca Becker, Executive Director and founder of Raising the Vibe. We are a 2-year-old nonprofit that our mission is to support the growth of conscious communities. And we do that in several ways, but one of the main ways we do that is really bringing people like Susan to you once a month to just share information about a variety of topics. We look at things from self-actualization tools to holistic healing to conscious community practices. And we also have authors come in and discuss their books. We've had the Trust Frequency authors, where Connie and Andrew were our last speakers talking about their book, The Trust Frequency. Before that, we had Jill Blakeway talking about energy medicine. So in addition to just a book club, we actually have the authors come in and present. So if you're new to Raising the Vibe, I would encourage you to go to our website, raisingthevibe.org. Check us out. We have a lot of the videos from our past speakers there. And I would encourage you to join. We are a fully volunteer-run nonprofit, so you're joining as a business member for only $75 or a regular member for $25 a year, not a month, would really support us. So I would appreciate that. So happy to have Susan with us. When we were in Atlanta and we had, I'm now in North Carolina, but we had monthly in-person meetings where we do this kind of thing. And Susan came to a couple of those and we're so blessed to meet her. Now we're all online on Zoom. But the blessing with that is now we can have people from around the country, and we've had some international people as well join us. So we're happy to become now a global nonprofit now that we're on Zoom. So with that, I'd love to introduce Susan. Again, I met her at one of our meetings, I guess, 1.5 years ago or so. She is and many of you know her personally, but she is a former nurse who got severe, I guess, I don't know, stage 3 or 4 breast cancer, and she really had started taking a look at the product she was using, and we're so inspired to really create healthy products for herself. She created Moon Organics. So she's got a lot of wonderful things to share about how emotions affect your whole body and your skin. It's your skin within. So with that, I'm gonna let Susan come on. She's gonna share some PowerPoint, a PDF with you on screen as present to you, and then we're going to have some time for question and answer. So feel free to start, if you want to put some questions in the chat, or at the end we'll make sure you can actually just ask your question directly live. So we are recording this. It will be on the raisingthevibe.org site, just so you know. So thank you. With that, Susan, so happy you're here.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Rebecca. And the platform is really great. I've attended a bunch of the Zoom meetings, and it's fascinating, the guests that you have. So I encourage everyone to check it out and join. As Rebecca said, I'm a former nurse. Currently now I am an esthetician. I work in 2 locations. I work in Atlanta at 2 locations, and I practice what I call holistic skincare. So I'm really looking at not just the products that we're putting on the skin, but I'm really looking at what is the person surrounding themselves with? What are they eating? What is their lifestyle like? What kind of stress are they going through? And so that is what I'm focusing on. So this presentation is really, it's not, some of it is what you're putting on your skin for anti-aging, but a lot of it is just what about your lifestyle and what you're thinking, and some other things that are in your environment that affect your skin aging. So I'm going to put up a PDF of so that we can all kind of follow along. And I hope everyone can see that. Somebody just let me know if you can't see it. It should say your skin within, and it says basic structure of the skin. So in order to understand what's happening with your skin and how skin ages, we need to understand the structure of the skin. And I'm not going to dwell on this because this is like, 9th grade science, but it is important to understand that there are layers to the skin, and each layer has a specific job. So in our skin, the uppermost layer has to be balanced. So that's the layer that you put products on. That's the layer that everyone sees. That is the layer that will absorb all of your products. And it's important to keep that well balanced in order for the skin to be glowing and to look good. The products that are applied to the surface can get through into that skin and into the bloodstream several different ways. The skin cells are arranged in such a way that it can get in between the skin cells, it can get into the follicle, but it really only takes 26 seconds for that to get into your bloodstream. So just hold on to that fact. And so you see the different layers. So we have a water layer, we have a fat layer, there's bacteria that live on the skin that help the skin maintain, and all of these things have to be in check in order for you to have good skin. If you see down in the middle, there's that basal layer. So that's where like the dark spots, the age spots, all of that are the dark pigmented cells, and those get activated from certain things, and we'll go through some of those things. But those are called melanocytes, and you know, if you've aged, if you're aging, all of those little age spots that you have on your face, those all come from that layer. The layers move up. So what you're eating and drinking, what you're putting inside your body, all of that feeds those bottom layers. And then as your skin exfoliates, as the dead skin comes off, those layers move up and up and up, and they become other layers. And then finally they come up to the surface. So that's kind of how the skin works. And that's why we are hearing about exfoliation and how important that is. So literally what you're eating is becomes your skin. Now the collagen and elastin that keeps your skin young and plump, that's underneath all of that. So keep that in mind. That's way, way down underneath all of those other layers of the epidermis. So just to give you an example of like what happens in your skin and how complicated it is, 1 square centimeter of your skin has all of these things. It has 15 sebaceous glands, 3 million cells, you know, the hairs, the sensory apparatus, the oil glands, the sweat glands, the blood cells, the nerve cells, all of that is going on. And keep in mind too, that each one of those things is connected to a different body system. So you have the nerves that are connected to the nervous system, that are connected to your brain and your spine. You know, you have your blood cells, the blood vessels that are connected to your circulatory system. You have your hormonal system, which will feed different things into the bloodstream. So it's important to know, you know, we look at our face and we look, oh, you know, what can I use to put on the skin to make my skin look younger? But really, all of this stuff is going on. So we really need to look at the whole picture. So in Western medicine, your skin, your face is actually a mirror of what's going on inside your body. And based on where you're having issues on your face, it can, not always, but it can reflect what's happening inside the body. I see this very, very often with people that have issues with fungal. So if you have a lot of yeast infections, if you have intestinal problems where you're sensitive to certain foods, if you have sensitivities to sweets, if you have leaky gut syndrome, if you know what that is, that will show up definitely in the colon areas. So I usually see that on either side of the chin and on the top. And if you look on the picture, each side of the chin is the colon, and then this center of the forehead is the small intestine. So that indicates that there's some imbalance with the gut health. And so we need to look at that. And a lot of times I'll see when people are sensitive to sugar, I'll see a lot of like little bumps right here on the chin and on the forehead. So we can look at the face, you know, as a map, and we can see maybe there's something going on inside of us that is reflected on the outside. because remember, all of the systems are connected. Your skin is not just this covering. It really is connected to every single system in the body. So anything that affects those systems will ultimately affect your skin. Some people get breakouts in certain areas. Again, that's related to this. Don't forget too, anything happening around your mouth. Your lips are part of your digestive system. They're actually the beginning of your digestive system is your lips. It's connected to all of the pathway that goes all the way to the end. So any issues there, can indicate something in your intestinal system as well. So really important to have very good gut health. And a lot of times with clients that have rosacea or specific skin rashes or acne, inflamed acne, I'll definitely dive into their diet and see what is going on with their diet. Are they eating a lot of sugar? Are they eating peanuts? Peanut butter is one of the foods that we really look at. Iodine, processed foods, are difficult, and they can affect your gut as well. If you have any kind of gluten sensitivity that you're not aware of, a lot of times that can come out in your skin as well. And we all know hormonal breakouts, and this happens with adults. As we get older, our hormones change, and this goes for men and women. Your hormones change, and you see all of those changes around the bottom of the jaw, sometimes on the neck, but usually around here, and that indicates hormonal issues. And again, connecting all the systems to the body, to the skin. Sometimes you'll get rashes elsewhere. Sometimes hormonal changes will trigger some acne on the back as well. So all of those things to keep in mind when you're looking at problems on the skin. So what actually causes the aging of the skin? Oxidation is just a general term that means instability and breakdown of normal healthy cells. So very common to when you leave metal out in the rain and it oxidizes or it rusts. That's a chemical reaction that occurs when oxidation takes hold of a certain metal. Same thing happens with our skin. When we have certain free radicals, certain foods, or certain things that we're exposed to that break down our cells, that affect the DNA, that kind of disrupt the normal healthy process of the cells, that's called oxidation, and that's breakdown, wrinkles, aging, just typical, aging skin. So one of the things is radiation from the sun, and we'll talk about that in detail later, but radiation from the sun is the same radiation that you would get from a nuclear power plant. It's exactly the same. The atoms are coming quickly. They bounce off of your cells. We're all made of atoms. When these small particles come in and bombard and disrupt, they make electrons jump to other things. This causes an instability and causes a breakdown. Chemicals in your diet, poor diet, low in phytonutrients. So plants really are magic. Plants have the ability to heal. Plants have the ability to counter that oxidation, to counter all of those free radicals. They kind of calm that down. Any kind of drug, so anything that's chemical, that's man-made, that's anything. So that's Tylenol, ibuprofen, any kind of medication. I'm not saying, get off your blood pressure medication, but this is something to keep in mind. Any chemical that's man-made, that you're taking that is affecting any of your systems, this causes oxidation. When those drugs get into our system and they metabolize, the metabolites, the end results, those metabolites, those are very unstable. They're things that we need to rid the body of. They're very high potency waste product, if you will. Any kind of trauma. So Psychological trauma. This causes serious changes in the body, serious changes in the mind. And we all know the mind and body are connected. So this causes changes in all of our systems, hormonal, the respiratory system, circulation system, nervous system, all of that causes the same oxidation. Cigarette smoke also causes that. Pollution as well. So when we go outside, we get bombarded with pollution. Atlanta is not, one of the worst cities, but there are days where the pollution is very high. And so the pollution actually bombards the skin and again, breaks down, kind of does a breakdown of the skin. So what's the solution to oxidation? It's an intake of antioxidants via diet. So antioxidants, they are against oxidation. They stabilize the cell. I like analogies. So I'm an analogy person. So if you think of your skin cells and your healthy cells as a crystal shop, right? They're all nice and pretty and shiny. And oxidation is this hard super ball. We're going to throw that into the room and it's bouncing all over and it's hitting all the crystal and it's breaking everything and it's going and going, and because it's bouncing off of everything and it's gaining speed. The antioxidants in your diet, the vitamin C, the phytonutrients, all of those plant chemicals, that is going to grab that super ball and put it to the side. It totally shuts off that oxidation process. So we want to make sure that we're eating things that are colorful. I know a lot of you have heard this before, but sometimes we get into a rut and you get into a rut and you start eating things that are just convenient. I know I do it, especially during the pandemic. It's really easy just to be, I'm tired, I'm psychologically tired. I don't want to, have a salad or make something. But these colorful foods are really what's helping your skin by helping all of your other systems, including your brain, including your psychology. Nuts are great, pomegranate, anything that's very colorful, dark chocolate, thank goodness. Indian gooseberries, really, really high in vitamin C. Vitamin C is a great antioxidant. Moringa, cloves, spearmint, all of these essential oils, ginger tea, and then there's many, many more. But the idea is to make sure that you're including all of those things on a daily basis. I always ask my clients, what's the last raw thing that you've eaten? What's the last raw, when's the last time you ate something raw? And, they have to stop and think, I don't know, like I've been eating a lot of processed and cooked foods, throw in, some raw foods every now and then, and there's many ways to do that. SPF is really important. We'll discuss more about sunscreen later on. So there's something called the oxygen radical absorption capacity. These are based on specific portions of food. So this tells you how powerful the antioxidant is when you eat it. So if you look at, salmon and beef, 30 and 10, not very high. Indian gooseberry has an ORAC number of 261,000. So, plants are just far and away much more powerful, even though, some people say, well, salmon has omega-3, you're also getting a lot of other things with that salmon. You're getting, you're getting the animal-based fats, you're getting things that are in the water that happen to be in them. And it's just not as powerful as plants are. So if you have questions along the way, just kind of jot them down, or you can write them in the chat and I'll be happy to answer them. So let's talk a little, I'm sure smoking is not an issue, but just to kind of give you an idea, one puff of a cigarette contains 3 trillion free radicals. So those are the ping pong balls. So something like that. Alcohol acts the same way. So alcohol affects the blood vessels, the oxygen level. It constricts vessels in some areas and it dilates vessels in others. You know, we talk about moderation and alcohol in moderation. You know, I'm a cancer survivor, and with alcohol, as the studies have come out and as the research has gotten more in depth and we've known more studies, we went from saying, okay, 2 drinks a day is okay, you know, for cancer risk. And then a few years later, well, we think 1 drink a day is okay for cancer risk. Now, today in 2021, 0 drinks are okay for cancer risk. Any alcohol that you consume increases your risk of cancer. So sorry, I usually get like things thrown at me when I say that because everybody loves their wine. And you know, you have to do what's right for you. I'm just telling you the science and you know, the reality of it. So just to kind of keep that in your mind, you know, in the back of your mind. Dehydration is also something that is really bad for cells, causes cell death and causes premature aging, causes kind of a dullness to your skin. And, you know, alcohol is something that dehydrates you. So smoking, drugs, alcohol, obviously not good for your body, but has a real definite effect on your skin as well. This, by the way, the picture is they're twins. So you can guess which one of them smokes cigarettes and which one doesn't. So the one on the left is a cigarette smoker and the one on the right is not. They live in the same place and both live in Florida. They're both identical twins. So that's kind of, you know, a good way to look at just the cigarette smoke. Now you can assume that maybe if she's smoking that she's not really eating a great diet as well, but that's an interesting photo. Another thing that affects skin aging is sugar intake. So sugar has a definite effect, and we're not talking about sugar in fruits. Let me make this very clear. There are many that feel that fruits are not good because they're high in sugar. Well, you know, fructose, when taken with the whole fruit, is metabolized in a different way. We have the fiber and the sugar that we introduce into our bodies together. It's a lot slower process. Your body has to work on that a little bit harder versus so it's the difference between eating an orange and drinking a glass of orange juice. The orange juice is just pure sugar. It's just pure sugar. The orange, yes, it's high in fructose, but if you're eating the actual full fruit, you're also getting the fiber along with that. Same with apple, same with any other fruit. So when we talk about skin damage and sugar, we're talking about very rapid rises in blood sugar. So, you know, processed sugars that are added into foods, cakes, you know, cookies, things like that, sugar that you add to things. Also, you know, are the carbs that are baked, processed, you know, bread, white potatoes, which turn to sugar immediately when you put them in your mouth. They don't even need to hit your stomach. The saliva immediately turns that into sugar. So these are the things we're talking about. When that sugar spikes very, very rapidly, it causes something called glycation. And glycation means that the glucose actually becomes sticky and it attaches to the collagen. Collagen is the stuff in our skin that makes our skin nice and plump. So we have collagen and elastin. Again, I'm an analogy person, so the analogy is a couch that we sit on. The elastin are the springs that hold that couch nice and firm. The collagen are the nice fluffy cushions that we sit on. So that's like what our face is. So the elastin is the support. It's the thing that holds everything in place. The collagen is the nice puffiness. You know, you look at little babies, they have these chubby faces. They're just filled with that nice puffy look. And that's, you know, that's what the collagen does. It gives us the puff. The sagging is from the elastin. So the glucose attaches itself to the collagen. It breaks down the collagen. It also causes inflammation. So when that sugar constantly is spiking, every time that sugar spikes, it's causing inflammation. Inflammation is pretty much the cause and the base of every chronic illness, heart disease, diabetes, arthritis, cancer. So all of these things have to do with inflammation. High spikes, constant high spikes in sugar will affect that, and they will, in the same token, increase the breakdown of the skin around the face. So sugar is, high sugar, constant high sugar is just a no-no. What's the solution? Pay attention to what you're eating. Fruit juices, I don't recommend fruit juices at all. Eating the fruit is much healthier. I know it's a little bit radical, but, as a nurse, when someone was going into a glycemic shock and their blood sugar was low, we give them orange juice because it immediately pumps their sugar up, like immediately raises, your sugar. So again, important. Now, if those of you out there are juicing, I would recommend, using the vegetable juices. Those are not as spiked in sugar. Those are very, very different from the fruit juices, if that makes sense. Stress, of course, who doesn't have stress, right? We all have stress in our lives, but it's how we are dealing with the stress and how we perceive the stress. So stress, we need stress. We've all heard this, the fight or flight increases the cortisol levels in our bloodstream. We need this to function in our physical world. But constant stress will keep those cortisol levels high, and it shuts down the immune system. So, and that also has to do with cell repair, skin cell repair. So any damages that you have, anything, the aging process is damaging, anything that needs to be replaced. If you're using any skincare product that is exfoliating and taking those dead skin cells away, and you need to replenish, we need to build new skin cells, the stress is really going to block that. Stress also, we don't realize it, but we hold that stress in our faces. Just notice this, if you're doing something during your day, just kind of stop or set an alarm on your phone to just alarm randomly, when you're doing something, and pay attention, like scan your face and see which muscles are super tight and which ones aren't. I know for me personally, the muscles around my mouth is where I hold my stress. I'm very tight-lipped, and I don't even realize I'm doing it, and you probably don't even realize you're doing it. But when you are forced to be conscious of it, you really recognize where that is. Also, when we have stress, we tend to close our face down. So we have, an opening of our face is, your ears are back, your eyes are open. It's not a cartoon look, but when you're relaxed and when you're listening to something maybe that you're interested in, or you're talking to someone that you're interested in, your face automatically does this. It opens up, your eyes open, your ears kind of go back, things open up. When you're stressed or worried, all of that comes down. Everything comes down and into the center of your face. Your eyes go in, your mouth goes in. These muscles are attached to your skin. So if you're constantly having this tension in your face, it's going to make those lines in those areas. It's repetitive motion. So if we can reduce our stress, we can change the look of our face. We can do this many ways. We each have our own way of reducing stress. You can have a lot of stress. Again, the analogy thing, it's a seesaw. So we have a little bit more stress in our day, we need to counter that weight so that things are nice and even. So we have a little more stress, something happens today. Okay, you know what? I need to go home and, soak in some Epsom salts. That's a great way to get rid of bad energy. It's a great way to just kind of reset So these are just things that we need to be conscious of for, you know, if you want to avoid getting wrinkles. So the solution is obviously counter the stress with exercise. Exercise actually has a magical thing with your skin. For some reason, those that exercise, and the science really doesn't even know why, but when we find people that exercise a lot, they don't have as many wrinkles. And I'm sure it has to do with the you know, the immune boosting properties and the you know, the good feel good, I can't think of the word, but you guys know what it is. Endorphins, the endorphins that you get, you know, those feel good hormones that are elicited when you exercise. But there's, you know, it's hard to pin down the science, but exercise will not only relieve stress, but it has a direct effect on reducing wrinkles as well. Obviously meditation, sound therapy, yoga, you know, all of those things are good. Facial massage is wonderful because you're working out, you know, you can do your own facial massage. There are great YouTube videos. You can work out the stress from your face just by doing a massage. Put a little oil on your face and work out that stress as well. Hormones is another thing that directly affects skin aging. So estrogen is the big one for skin. As estrogen decreases and as you age, it's predominant in women, but men have estrogen too. It acts as an anti-inflammatory and very potent antioxidant. It helps with tissue repair. It helps with keeping the elastin and the collagen in check. So with the decrease of hormones, you get a thinning of the skin. You get a loss of the elasticity. That's what causes the sagging, decrease in collagen, thinning of the blood vessels. So you don't get as much oxygen to the skin. Your the waste products are not being taken away as quickly. A reduction in your lipid production ability. So your skin is drier. Testosterone becomes dominant in women. So that's why when you get older, your estrogen and testosterone does a little seesaw. And with more testosterone, we get hair growth on our faces, other areas, increased oil production. And this is what causes adult acne. So I have a lot of clients that come into me, you know, in their 50s, 40s and 50s, and all of a sudden they're breaking out. Well, this is the reason. It's hormones, and it's not necessarily what they're putting on their skin, but it's the hormones inside their body that are causing the increased oil and the swelling and everything of their pores, and that's what causes the acne. So the solution for that is, if you are open to it, you know, the bioidentical hormone replacement, dietary changes, including fermented soy. I could do a whole hour on just soy products. Soy is a very misunderstood food. The fermented soy actually helps your body. I try to get as much fermented soy as possible. As a breast cancer survivor, it actually reduces my risk of breast cancer, and it reduces risk of breast cancer whether you've had it or not. So really important. And fermented soy is tempeh and miso. Those are the two main sources. Tofu is not fermented. It's a curd, so it's a little bit different. But including fermented soy is really important. Regular sex or sexual stimulation, you know, it's funny, the women's bodies don't know the difference between whether we've passed menopause or we haven't. So when we're having regular sexual stimulation, our bodies think that we're getting ready to have babies, and it actually increases our estrogen. So what can I say? You don't need a partner. You just have to get aroused every once in a while. And this really does work. You know, it'll help increase the estrogen. It helps the health of all of your sex organs. It will increase the collagen and the elastin. You know, it's not the only thing to do. Obviously, it's a multifunctional approach that we need to take to counter the anti-aging. But it's definitely one of the more funner things that you can do, I think. Vitamin D and regular exercise as well. Hydration. This is really important. So when we looked at the cell structure, there were, when we looked at that, the picture of the cell and all the different layers, you have hydration and you have moisture. Okay, so they're two different things. The moisture has to do with the oil production. So you have natural oils that you produce on your skin. Again, those are going to decrease as you age. That's why your skin gets dry when you're older. Those oil producing, the oil producing system in your body is slowing down. So you don't have as many oils, but then you also have the hydration. That's the water part of the skin cell. So each of your skin cells is like a water balloon. So if you take a balloon, you fill it up with water, it's nice and bouncy, it's firm, it's nice and pretty. If you dump that water out and hold the balloon up, it's shrivelly and empty, and it's got all the little wrinkles in it. That is what I see underneath the magnifying glass when someone isn't drinking enough water, or if their body is very dehydrated. Certain medications will cause this, certain antidepressants, certainly water pills. If you have high blood pressure and you're taking a diuretic, that will do it as well. But water is essential for filling up those cells and making your skin look healthy. A lot of times with dehydration, you'll get a very dull appearance to your skin. When I look at it under the magnifying lamp, it looks like the desert. I see these tiny little lines. When I push the skin together, you get like these tiny little lines. And that tells me that there's not enough water in that water layer of the skin. Hyaluronic acid, everyone has heard that before. Hyaluronic acid is actually produced in the skin, in all of our skin. We produce it ourselves, but you can also put it on your skin to attract water and to bring water to the skin and to fill up those cells. Don't let the word acid throw you off. Hyaluronic acid is a water attracting molecule. Other acids that you may have heard, like glycolic acid or salicylic acid, hydrochloric acid, those are all kind of, they do a different job. They're not hydrochloric acid, but the glycolic acid and the salicylic acid are exfoliants. Hydrochloric acid, I wish the word acid wasn't in there. It's actually beneficial, hydrating. It's a good thing. It's not a burning kind of acid. So any product that you can find that has hyaluronic acid in it, you can get just plain hyaluronic acid. The trick with hyaluronic acid is comes in four, I believe, different cell sizes. So you want to make sure that you're using a product that has micronized, very, very small hyaluronic acid molecules, so that they can absorb into the skin. And not all products do that. And they, usually they tell you if they do. So your general dietary recommendations with healthy skin. So high in rainbow food, plant-based proteins, low in animal protein, low in chemicals, low in artificial anything, and low in refined sugar. Certain herbs are very beneficial for the skin. The He Wu herb, that's a Chinese herb. Horsetail is a medicinal fern. Nettle root, you can get that in teas. Mangosteen. Schizandra, I love. It's called the beauty berry. It's a really interesting plant. You can get it in powdered form, pills, dried pills. You can get it in a tincture that you can add to your tea. And I really encourage vitamin C as calcium ascorbate. So vitamin C you can get as ascorbic acid. It's okay, but the vitamin C as calcium ascorbate, the ester C, is much better absorbed in the system. It's much more readily available to the body's system. I'm not telling you to take any supplements without checking with your doctor. A little disclaimer, because some of these herbs can affect certain medications. So please make sure that you check with your doctor. But vitamin C is one that usually nobody has a problem with because it is water soluble. So you really can't overdose on vitamin C. You can take a ton of it, and your body will use what it wants to use, and then you'll just pee out the rest. So it's not like you can overdose on it. I personally take 2,000 milligrams of calcium ascorbate. If you feel like you need more, I'm all about, knowing what calls to you. Maybe one of these herbs, you've heard about it before, and maybe now you're hearing about it again. And that's kind of the universe's way of introducing that to you and saying, maybe you need to look into this. So if this is not the first time you've heard vitamin C as calcium ascorbate, maybe pay attention to that, investigate it a little more. I said we'd talk about sun exposure a little bit more. So sun exposure, if you asked me, like, what is the number one prevention for skin aging? The number one thing you can do to prevent skin aging, it would be limiting or dealing with your sun exposure. So the picture, the double picture there of the woman, that's under normal light, is on the left. The right is under a black light. And you can actually do this at home. You can take a black light. They sell them like at pet stores, so you can find like pee stains. But if you just take a little black light, go into the closet, it has to be completely dark, get your mirror, turn your black light on, get ready for some reality check, because you're going to see it's going to look just like this. It's going to show up every single area of your skin that has been damaged from day one that you were on this planet. And it will show you all of your sunspots, and all of those spots are waiting. They're underneath the skin and they're waiting to come up to the surface. So all of those spots are eventually going to come to the surface and show themselves, either as very dark spots, as little, not as like brown spots, all different shades, but you're going to have this come to the surface. This is skin damage. So this is pure damage, sunburns, times that you've been out in the sun, that the sun has had an effect on the deeper layers of your skin. As children, if you've gotten burns as children, that's probably the worst. That just stays with you. Your burns, the radiation exposure that you get from the sun is cumulative. So it never leaves your body. From day one, what you are exposed to stays with you for the rest of your life and continues to make that damage. The picture on the right is a truck driver. He drove for 28 years and never wore sunscreen. Now, if you notice, the left side or the right side of his face there is where he was on the window. It's actually, when you're looking at the picture, the right side is actually his left side of his face. So that's the side that had the window. Windows only block, 30, sometimes 30%, but not more than 50% of the UV A rays, those damaging rays. So that was him driving the truck for 28 years. And that's his face. So if you look at the two sides of his face, they're completely different. You can't get a better example of sun damage on a person's face. You see all the wrinkles, the sagging, the drooping of the one side, and the other side doesn't have it. So sunscreen is absolutely 100% so important. So we're going to talk just a little bit about sunscreen. So again, sun is radiation. Just like the radiation, if you were standing at, Chernobyl, when the nuclear power plant exploded, those people got burns. It's just the same way that we get burns from the sun. It's the exact same damage. It kills cells and damages DNA. It damages the elastin. It increases wrinkles, sagging, all of that. You can get these little actinic keratosis. They're little rough patches. Sometimes you can scrape them off, but sometimes they're little rough patches. That's an indication that you've had some damage. Those can sometimes get bigger over time. Sometimes they can develop into squamous cell cancer. Increased damage to the blood vessels are also one of the results of sun damage. So you get those like red spots. They almost look like blood blisters, but they're just, your blood vessel is weak from the sun and it breaks open. A lot of older people, you just basically tap their skin and their blood vessels are so thin that they get like a bruise just from very, very minimal trauma to the skin. That the sun can be a cause of that as well. And then also your increased risk of melanoma. So what's the solution? Daily SPF. So even if you're going to be just driving around in your car and you're not going to be sitting out in the sun, you still need to put sunscreen on. It's like every day you need to have that protection. Most SPFs are broad spectrum, so you don't really have to look at the label. I can't imagine any SPF that isn't broad spectrum. The healthiest ones, I'm going to get to the questions at the end, if that's okay. This is the end of it. The healthiest ones are made with zinc oxide. Okay, so zinc and titanium oxide are the physical or the mineral sunscreens. They sit on top of the skin. They actually act like little mirrors, millions of little mirrors on your skin that are reflecting the sun and not allowing that to come into your skin. Those are the ones that you're not going to rub those in. Those don't get really into your skin. They just sit on top of your skin. So they're the healthiest. They're the mineral sunscreens. They block the UVA and UVB. So UVBs are the burning rays. That's what you get the sunburn. But then the rays that you don't see are the UVA rays that get deep, deep, deep into your skin. And that's what causes the deep damage that eventually comes out. The mineral sunscreens are great for soothing the skin. So great for inflammation. People with acne and rosacea, they're very, very good. My favorites are MD Solar Sciences. If you have oily skin, this is really great. It's a mineral sunscreen with a little bit of a tint. And if you have big pores, it's wonderful because it fills in all your pores and it does a great job of sunscreen. Think Sport is another one you can get at Whole Foods and Whole Foods brand. Sometimes the physical SPFs are hard to deal with. They're thick, they're kind of goopy. It's sometimes hard to put your makeup on. So then there are chemical sunscreens. These chemical sunscreens absorb into the skin. They don't act the same way. They absorb into the skin and they absorb the radiation, and they actually turn the radiation into heat, which then gets dissipated. They do absorb into the skin, so you have to put them on like 20 minutes before you go out in the sun so that they have a chance to absorb. They can be irritating sometimes to sensitive skin, and these are the chemical sunscreens, and I put them in colors. The avobenzone seems to be the one that has the least issues, the least disruptions in the body. Oxybenzone's horrible. It's a hormone disruptor. It's just terrible for a lot of the different systems of the body. The numbers after those are the numbers that are given to the substances on the EWG.org website. If you're not familiar with that, it's EWG.org, Environmental Working Group. They have something called Skin Sense, and it's a website solely devoted to rating the safety of skin products. And they rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. So you can put any of your product in there, a product name or an ingredient, and it will give you a number value that you can see how safe it is. So the avobenzone's like a 1 or a 2. Oxybenzone's an 8 out of 10. It's just horrible. The next one, actinizate, is a 5, not really great. You don't really see that too often in the chemical sunscreens. Octocrylene is not too bad. It's a 3. You'll see that in some of the, the more popular, I believe Supergoop has that in there, and some of the more popular chemical sunscreens. Octisalate is pretty safe, and the homosalates are pretty safe as well. Safe meaning, right now we really don't have any evidence that they're disrupting anything, but they do get into your bloodstream. But right now we don't have, any evidence that they're going to do any harm. If your makeup has sunscreen in it, just make sure it's 30 or higher. Any sunscreen's better than none. So, if you have one, that's not great. If you're going to wear it, it's better to put something on to protect your skin than to say, oh, this is unhealthy and I'm not going to use this today. So I did a lot of talking. I hope that answered some of your questions. I did get a few questions in the chat, so I'm just going to answer those now. Let me just come out of, I'm just going to come out of this here. Hang on. Okay, there we go. Hi, everybody. So I'm just going to, let me just answer some of these questions in the chat. Where do I get gooseberries and in what form should you eat? You can get it, you can get dehydrated, you can get it powdered form. The powdered form's pretty inexpensive. You can mix that into smoothies and shakes. It doesn't really dissolve in water. It's one of those ones that, you kind of have to mix it in and it's kind of in what you have it in, but you can throw it into, cereals and stuff. It's not super sweet, not like a strawberry powder, but very effective and very inexpensive. You can get organic gooseberry powdered pretty much anywhere. If you want some resources, I can probably get you some resources if you want to just chat me or email me. Go to my website, moonorganics.com, and just send a message or text me. My phone number is all over the website, moonorganics.com. Does sun damage eventually get exfoliated, or do you have those spots forever? No, this is a good question. So there are things that you can do to pull those dark spots out. So the dark spots are the evidence, and that's where you have the melanin. So we saw that basal layer. That's where your melanin is produced. You have something called tyrosinase. It's an enzyme, and you must have that enzyme in order for that melanin to come up to the surface and to give you those dark spots. So if you're trying to get rid of them, using a tyrosinase inhibitor, which are in a lot of skincare products, they're like kojic acid. Let me think of some other ones. Sorry, I'm like drawing a blank. I'll think of them in a minute. But those are the ones that block the dark spots from coming up. Now, if you already have the dark spots, yes, exfoliate. Exfoliation is important. You can exfoliate with, glycolic acid, which is something that's left on the skin. You can exfoliate with a scrub. I'm not a big fan of a lot of scrubbing. I'm not a big fan of the brushes, but that is one of the ways to exfoliate. You can also get procedures done, such as IPL, and intermittent pulse laser. IPL laser is amazing because it forces those dark spots to come up, and then they just flake off. And it actually reduces your risk because all those dark spots are all areas that could turn into skin cancer. So the IPL laser draws those dark spots up. They turn black on your skin and they just like flake off your skin. It's really pretty cool. You normally need about 3 treatments, and you can Google what IPL laser is. Everybody does it. It's about $150 to $250 a session. Very, very rejuvenating for your face. It also gets rid of red spots, those red dots we were talking about, those broken blood vessels. If you have rosacea, it helps with that. So yeah, that would be a great thing to do to get rid of the dark spots quickly if you didn't want to use products on your face, because products can take some time. And that would alleviate those dark spots and reduce your risk of skin cancer. Isn't 20 minutes of sun good for vitamin D? Yeah, absolutely. 20 minutes of sun is good for vitamin D. Not on your face, though. That's just me. If you want to do arms and legs, sorry, I'm an esthetician. Don't get sun on your face. So your face, neck, and your décolleté, these 3 areas are all very similar skin structure. So they're very, very sensitive. They're much more sensitive to sun damage than your skin is. So yeah, if you want to go out for 20 minutes, in the morning or in the afternoon when you want to get your vitamin D, I'm all for it, but not on your face. How often should you exfoliate your face? So that depends. Exfoliation depends on what kind of skin type you have. It depends on your ethnicity. So if you have more melanin in your skin, so darker skin tones, African American, Middle Eastern, Indian, certain Native American, their skin has more melanin. Their skin is not necessarily needing a exfoliation, maybe weekly, maybe bi-monthly, barely even that. But other skin types, like the light skin tones, certain other skin tones, skin types, oily skin types, maybe they need more exfoliation because they're producing more dead skin cells. We want to keep those off the skin to keep the skin brighter. And again, two types of exfoliation. We have chemical exfoliation, which chemical is not a bad word all the time. Chemical exfoliation is your glycolic acid, your AHAs, alpha hydroxy acids, which are like glycolic acid, lactic acid, mandelic acid, tranexamic acid. There's always new ones coming up. Those you put on the skin, they break down the dead skin, they break down all the glue that holds that dead skin, and they constantly is coming off. When we take that dead skin cell off, we're telling the skin to rejuvenate. What, the skin's like, we better make new skin, we better make new skin. It would keep, getting things taken off. That's good. You want that constant skin turnover. As you get older, your skin does not rejuvenate as fast. When you're in your teens, you turn over your skin like once every 17 days. When you're over 50, it's like once every 45 to 60 days. So you're not doing it as often. Everything slows down, right? Everything slows down. It's okay. It's okay. You still be beautiful. Just get that exfoliation in there. Get those dead skin cells off, so that calls the new skin cells to come up. I hope that answered your question. If anybody has any other questions, I'm happy to answer questions about skin types or about products you're using. I hope that gave you some insight into, what you need to think about when you're thinking about just skin aging. It's not just the products on your face are important, but it's your whole system, your entire body is responsible for that skin on your face. Thanks, Mary-Ellen. Thanks, Laura. I hope it was helpful. If anyone wants a copy of this handout, I have it on a PDF if you want to have it, and you can just text me and I'll text it to you. And if anybody has any other questions, my website is moonorganics.com, MOON organics with an S.com. You can look at my products there, or you can just get my phone number and text me any of your questions. I love answering questions about anything. I have people text me all the time. Skin is my passion. Skincare is my passion, and being healthy and healthy skincare is my passion. So I love to help people. So please let me know.
Thank you so much, Susan. That was really informative. I've taken several notes of things I need to do. Exfoliation is one, and I know my diet. I'm trying to drink more water, so all those little things. But I want to put a plug in for your products. I've been using them for a while now, and I especially love the natural deodorant. It is the best that I've found anywhere. And so I just ordered some. I ordered 3 over the website just a couple days ago. So you got to try it.
Thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate it.
Sure. Any other questions about anything, or any from Susan's story of it was just a very inspirational story of how you started this company as well. So anything about that? Feel free to jump on, unmute yourself and jump on if you'd like.
I must have been very thorough.
What about, this is Gloria, what about products that you're talking about your face? I know you're an esthetician, but what about your body in general?
Yeah, so I love natural oils for the body, like olive oil, apricot kernel, sesame oil. Just plain oils are wonderful for the body. So the way you apply those is you take a shower, you get nice and hot, you get your skin, nice and hydrated, you wash your body, and then leave your skin wet. Don't towel dry. Turn the water off, get your oil and massage that oil into the wet skin. Massage it really, really well all over. Then step out of the shower and just pat yourself dry. I have a product called Satin Touch. I'm not plugging the product, but it just has olive oil, macadamian, almond, and coconut. So coconut oil is wonderful for skin. So really any plant-based oil is really, really nice for skin. You don't need anything fancy. You can add a little bit of essential oils, a little lavender to that is wonderful for skin. St. John's wort essential oil is actually really good for the skin. A lot of people know it for the antidepressant, internal taking, but the St. John's wort essential oil is really good for healthy skin. So I love plant-based oils.
I have a question. Do you have enzymes in your product line as well? Your exfoliants, do you carry that?
I don't have any exfoliants. Right now I'm working on a dry exfoliating facial cleanser. I'm trying to make my products more environmentally conscious. So my packaging, I'm trying to get rid of all the plastic. The deodorant, if you notice, is in a zero waste. Even the label is compostable. Everything, you can just throw that in your composter and it'll break down. So I feel really good about that. The facial cleanser is the one that I haven't been able to master now. I have a facial cleanser in a plastic bottle, but the dry will have an exfoliant in it. It'll have papain from papaya, which is an enzyme, and the enzymes dissolve the glue. So we have glue that holds all the skin cells together. As the skin cells come up to the surface, they kind of flop and flake off. The ones that are kind of hanging are the ones that give us that dull skin. The papaya enzyme takes that glue away. So all those little hanging chads get taken off. So that's why you look so like glowy and nice and smooth when you exfoliate, because you're getting rid of, microscopically, it looks like, you know, like when you stick a bunch of Post-it notes and they curl up, that's really what it looks like microscopically. It's pretty fascinating. But yeah, the enzymes are great for exfoliation.
Anybody else? Thinking we could put maybe the PDF on the raisingthevibe.org site as well. We'll have this video up, and if that's okay, we'll just put that with it.
Yeah, I'll email it to you right as soon as we're done. Perfect.
All right. Well, if there's nobody else, anybody want to jump in? The video, hopefully soon, maybe within a week. So it depends on my website person. So maybe sooner. But now that if you've signed up for this event, you should be getting Raising the Vibe emails. Check your junk mail because the MailChimp sometimes ends up there. So please, check your junk mail, and then I usually do an email once a month, and I will share when the video is up on the site, and also share any of our future speakers. So hopefully you'll be getting that email as well. But you can check it, raisingthevibe.org. I'll write it in here. Vibe.org. So hopefully you guys will check. And many of you are new. I think you're Susan's friends here. So glad to have so many new faces with us tonight. Hope you check out our website and all the other programming. We're very much into holistic wellness, as well as many other conscious activities. So perfect. All right. Well, I guess we'll call it a night. Thank you again, Susan, and we'll get coming up as soon as we can. Thanks for all of you who joined us tonight.
Bye-bye.
Bye.